either.
They're pretty cute.
They're super adorable. I don't think I would have the desire to replace all of our emotes, but like I like some of the rough and tough one. Like the Ace Tempog was one I made on stream very terribly, and Harona made like the base trade one. Looks great. Like I wouldn't want to replace those, but I do like the style of the new emotes. Anyways, welcome back to I Am Katowice, guys. Game number 3. Spawning the upper left side of the map. It's tied up 1-1. It's gonna be the Red Protoss, Team Liquid's MaNa.
In the top right, as the blue Protoss, he Psystorms PiLiPiLi.
So, I totally forgot about this. So you brought up now. I think that's when my bad puns really began. Like the origins of terrible jokes was when I was making Tempos emote on stream. And I talked about cropping the picture, and I just put like a bunch of corn all over the screen.
I wasn't around for that. Thank God.
Thank God, yeah. Big love to Tempo. I see him in chat there. Good to see you, man. Maybe I'll start playing some more Tempo's music in the downtime. I will say though, nothing against Tempo. Played a lot of Monster Cat because I had such a good time at the Monster Cat headquarters, and meeting those people, I was expecting something a lot more corporate because it's a music business, right? But the folks who were hosting the party and representing from Monster Cat, I met one of the founders actually of Monster Cat there too. Really just super cool to talk to, and he was so interested to talk about Twitch games, less about music. Like I was trying to find like, you know, how do I talk to somebody who's like, you know, founder of like a music thing, right? So I started talking about music, and he's like, no, I want to hear more about StarCraft. I'm like, oh, this guy likes StarCraft shit. Like, I am loving these guys now.
I would have expected them to be like, I don't know, like that company in Parks and Rec, Grizzle. That's what I always thought they were gonna be, just a bunch of people in like beanies and posters. So I definitely did not go corporate.
So similar openings here out of players, Adepts and Adepts. This is actually worth noting because we did see Soccer's last time, but it is also a little bit awkward because Adepts, as funny as it is, there's still the only things that really kill Adepts well prior to getting things like an Oracle out. Small difference now with PiLiPiLi going for the Twilight Council, of course, but the point is for MaNa, you can either sit at home with the Adepts and with the Overcharge, make sure that these do no damage, or you go across the map and probably get a couple kills yourself. So the Soccer Fallout for both, they are both just playing this really safe.
Yeah, pretty identical, except the PiLiPiLi did go for a Twilight Council really quickly, so it might be for a Dark Shrine. We did talk about DTs in the very beginning of this best of 5. It's going to be for Blink. Okay. So, potentially a Blink attack that MaNa's have to deal with as he tries to get up his natural. He has a pylon ready to go.
You know, even the cheesy aspect of Blink aside, like, you know, talk about the weaknesses of MaNa and all that, there is still a pretty good build that involves Archons following, like, DTs. So I actually don't think that would be too bad to bust out. And unfortunately for both players, this would be the series this would be the game in the series to do it on when it's still tied up 1-1. So for example, you don't be backed in a corner and put your entire life on that one build, right? No pylon properly positioned and no mothership core here either makes these Adepts get a little bit more problematic. Because not only do they get about equal kills, they deny like, about 10-15 seconds of mining. That's a lot of minerals lost.
There was a couple of things that went in there. Of course, the mothership core being the biggest in the back of the pylon, but also that MaNa walked into the base and then shaded out, as opposed to PiLiPiLi, who shaded into the base and into a photon overcharge. So there's a little bit of differences. So MaNa, I guess, saw something that told him to go for a Robo before a Nexus. So it's actually really good because he's still gonna go for the Nexus. Well, eventually, but
he did see the Twilight Council with the Adept attack. Yeah. And I think the biggest thing about that too is by seeing no mothership core, he knew that PiLiPiLi had cut the gas for something like an upgrade. Didn't know whether it was Resonating Glaze or Blink, but if you're going to flip a coin in PvP, it's probably Blink. Because Blink Stalkers are really back in the meta. They are are back in fashion. For HOTS, it was like not cool to wear Blink, now you can.
Yeah, it's sometimes just down to also like what units they already have on the field, and the two Adepts are just used simply to scout and suicide, so seeing other Stalkers. You can put 2 and 2 together. Now MaNa is just continually holding off on his Nexus. Like he's had this probe here for quite a while, but he wants to make sure that PvP doesn't get an opportunity to just warp in and attack. And I think after catching the pylon, getting that to cancel, and seeing the army that PvP has to fight with, he feels pretty comfortable taking the Nexus now.
Now Blink has been confirmed at this point, so any guesswork and suspicions out the door, as MaNa is looking pretty good. I mean, Blink Stalkers have got a place in the matchup for certain, but at the end of the day, you can't juke an immortal shot. And it looks like we might just have 2 to 3 by the time the attack's ready to go.
Well, PiLiPiLi did end up getting away with a faster Nexus and even probes, so yeah,
Right.
had all that little bit of a boost.
But look at that army supply difference right now. I mean, it's not going to get bridged too easily, even when he starts his own immortal production behind this. So
Yeah.
MaNa does have a bit of a lead in terms of things. Now, I actually don't know if you'd feel comfortable moving out. Blink is actually a hard thing to deal with, especially with its maneuverability allowing it to get to the main so quickly. So MaNa's probably going to end up playing defensive until he's got a very, very, very big army. I do like the Warp Prism though. This is a nice addition to what's going on. It does mean like in making a Warp Prism, you cut out an immortal out of production cycles, but it's still fine because you'll have those reinforcements on the front lines ready to go for that real attack, which looks like it is on the way. MaNa pushing across the map very steadily. Again, no blink, no upgrades, but he's got immortals.
Yeah, the Warp Prism really signifies that he's going for an attack here. Definitely a necessity. There's a couple of pylons and a couple of force fields too.
Oh, but
which is going to be very helpful.
He's going to sneak past all of that. He might not have blink, but the adepts do get through to the main, and only a couple of adepts necessary to deal a lot of damage to workers. So sends the transfer out. He will get trapped though by the looks of it. However, with the force field starting to fall in the front lines, the immortals start pushing in. No focus fire on the pylon, but he does take out the stalkers and those sentries. So now the pylon goes down, and those stalkers are so busy chasing the adepts in the main, it took away a lot from that front line.
Doesn't have another photon overcharge. Last pylon's gonna go down. He's gonna abandon ship in the Nexus. Now, there's another warp in. There might be an immortal. MaNa isn't sure, and
I mean, look at
be a little careful.
The Zealots are actually
no
a great choice. The Zealots are a fantastic choice, but you know what? Well, there's no blink. There's a Warp Prism, and he's going to be able to use his own Warp Prism as a bit of a ghetto blink. Saves that Stalker.
I meant from PiLiPiLi, who actually has blink, and he wasn't blinking back any of those weak Stalkers. Could have saved maybe 2 more. Barely saves the Mothership Core. She has 1 overcharge for 2 pylons, and then she did. This is looking really good for MaNa.
That army count is getting a little too out of hand. The Nexus being under siege now forces PiLiPiLi to fight, even though he doesn't want to. And once again, MaNa doing some great micro with that Warp Prism. GG. Game number 3 will go to MaNa, giving him a nice 2-1 lead here in the series.